हाँ बेटा।
ये लोग कितने खुश दिख रहे हैं ना।
हाँ खुश तो है।
और आप?
मैं भी खुश।
पर ये लोग खुश क्यों हो दादू?
क्योंकि ये लोग आज़ाद हैं।
और आप?
मेरे पास भी आज़ादी है।
कहाँ?
मेरी आज़ादी मेरी जेब में है।
क्या कह रहे हो दादू? आज़ादी और जेब में? दिखाओ कैसी होती है आज़ादी। ये?
हाँ ये है मेरे आज़ादी की निशानी।
Azadi means freedom. Freedom means different things to different people. Most of us have simple dreams of freedom, which evolve and change along with environments, circumstances, and times. But however we look at it, freedom can and does have only one meaning: the freedom to choose. Someone once said, the strongest principle of growth lies in human choice. This is the tale of a dramatic and emotional journey of 62 years of free choice. It all began when,
at the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
when India chose the republican form of government and universal franchise, the prophets of doom described it as the biggest gamble in history. The finishing line is yet to come. But at this moment, we can surely pause to smell the roses. We can take a step back and say, looks like the gamble paid off. In Western democracies, adult franchise was extended in stages to men of property, then to educated men, later to all men, and finally to women as well. With its instant promise of universal adult franchise, Free India took its first leap. India is a hierarchical society. Within Indian culture, whether in the north or the south, Hindu or Muslim, urban or village, in fact, in virtually all things, people and groups of people are ranked according to various dogma, handed down from one generation to the next. With the first election, India broke free of this deeply entrenched social tradition. What a humbling sight! The privileged and the marginalized standing in the same line waiting to cast their vote. The freedom to choose is fundamental to a democracy. India took another huge leap. Every person who is a citizen of India has the right to vote. Unlike some other democracies, if he has the right to vote, he also has the right to stand for elections, be it for the highest political post in the country. Anyone can become a candidate if he is not disqualified by law. Candidates in India span a wide spectrum of backgrounds, castes, religions, and status. The panorama includes former royalty, cinema and TV stars, religious holy men, war heroes, and even the man on the street. Meet die-hard optimist Balram Bari, a tea stall owner in the walled city of Delhi. An astrologer had once told him that he would fight his first election when he was 25 and would enjoy political power when he turned 43. He turns 43 next year. He has fought elections 11 times and he has lost all 11 of them. But the twinkle in his eye is not lost when he says, that means, I win either this time or in the next Lok Sabha polls. Campaigns utilize not only high-tech, big-money communications, ranging from the latest video van with two-way screens, but also the traditional door-to-door visits, as well as word-of-mouth publicity. Today, India has all the hallmarks of an energetic, pulsating, vibrant democracy. The world calls it a miracle, but India knows better. It has been a tough and tumultuous journey riddled with unimaginable complexities and challenges that may seem bewildering to the modern mind.
नाम?
रामजी लाल की पत्नी।
तुम्हारा नाम क्या है?
अरे कहा तो रामजी लाल की पत्नी।
It's hard to imagine, but yes, there was a time when in many regions of India, women knew themselves and were known by others only in terms of their relationships to the men in their lives. The father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, had said, "In a true democracy, every man and woman is taught to think for himself or herself." It was a lesson well learnt.
मैंने पहली बार वोट डाला, मुझे वोट डाल के बहुत अच्छा लगा। मुझे लगा कि मैं बड़ी हो गई हूँ और मैं अच्छे बुरे का फैसला ले सकती हूँ। मैं आज लिबरेट हो चुकी हूँ, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है।
Today, Indian women have more than just an identity of their own. But what is etched in India's historical memory is the great lines of women along with men snaking through the dirt roads and streets going to vote for the first time. Old women who had waited at least half a century to cast their first vote, saying that they felt like human beings for the first time. Multi-hued and lively in more ways than one, Indian elections have had many amazing moments and well-defined milestones. Elections in the 1950s were carried out using different ballot boxes for each candidate. Different colored boxes represented different parties. Ever heard of 1,033 candidates for a single seat? Believe it or not, it happened in the Modakuruchi Assembly constituency in Tamil Nadu in 1996. The ballot paper with the symbols of the aspiring candidates was a booklet that ran to 60 pages. Awesome? Sure. All inclusive? Certainly. Liberal? Of course. And let's not forget participatory. In the 2004 general elections, there were 1,351 candidates from 6 national parties, 801 candidates from 36 state parties, 898 candidates from officially registered parties, and 2,385 independent candidates. The oldest candidate was 94 years old. He won. The youngest elected MP is 26 years old. What a heartwarming sight. The young and the old walking hand in hand to bridge the generation gap. A beautiful mix of youth and experience. The Indian experience is that electoral democracy is essential to manage the diverse aspirations of a plural society. In fact, it is the best tool to bring about political change without upheaval, violence, and bloodshed. Elections in India are sacrosanct. They are fervent. They are intrinsic to Indian culture. An ancient civilization. India is perhaps the only one in world history to be living on and continuing to thrive. Wise people have lots to say on that endurance of India. The Western philosopher Will Durant once said, "India was the mother of our race, and Sanskrit the mother of Europe's languages. She was the mother of philosophy, mother through Buddha, of the ideals embodied in Christianity, mother through village communities, of self-government and democracy. Mother India is in many ways the mother of us all." The history of India shows ample evidence of a deeply rooted democracy. Today, that root has blossomed and is here to spread its fragrance. The mainstay of this democratic journey, from fledgling to skilled, lies in India's undying commitment to the electoral process.
I think that in the totality, the way we conduct the elections, the micromanagement of elections, the details the Election Commission goes into, the increasing maturity of the political processes, the increasing maturity of the electorate. You see, it can't just be a commission. It has to be a totality of a whole country that is involved.
Given the overwhelming and unique conditions of the nation, each election in modern India is an epic undertaking. It is without doubt the largest event management exercise in the world. Can you imagine 4 European countries like Italy, France, Switzerland and Holland, with a combined population of more than 140 million, holding a general election together under the management of one organization? The very thought can be daunting. In India, it is a bigger reality. The state of Uttar Pradesh alone, with a population of more than 190 million, is larger than that of those 4 countries put together. Can anyone do the math of this massive operation and see the picture? India creates this picture and lives the story every 5 years. Look at it another way. It's almost like the whole of America and Europe getting ready to vote under the aegis of one organization. In India, more than 389 million people voted out of an electorate size of more than 671 million. The figures can be mind-blowing. Indian elections entail organizing and supervising about 700 million voters in around 800,000 polling stations spread across widely varying geographic and climatic zones. Polling stations are located in the towering, snow-clad Himalayan peaks, the deserts of Rajasthan, the vast Gangetic plains, the coastal regions further south, and in the sparsely populated islands in the Indian Ocean. India is the world's largest electoral democracy, and its general elections, scattered over almost 2 months, represent a triumph of organizational skill and will. Politics is something of a passion, and perhaps nowhere in the world are elections so fundamentally a zealously living and contested thing as in India.
Elections here bring together all kinds of other differences, whether it's caste or class or religion. On the day of voting, everyone's a voter, and it's that one most egalitarian and equal thing that we have. And elections in India are often like a mela, but the color around them should not undermine their deep importance because they're the only mechanism available by which the ordinary person can have a stake in the system.
The very fact that India has repeatedly and regularly mounted general elections since 1947 and on a scale never before witnessed in history bears testament to the strength of Indian democracy. Indian parliamentary elections cannot be compared to any polls happening anywhere in the world. Its population, which exceeds 1 billion, presents the most extraordinary contrasts. The cultural and demographic diversities themselves present intimidating challenges. The people of this vast country speak nearly 1,000 languages, follow several different faiths, and are congregated in hundreds of different ethnic and caste communities. As Mark Twain so aptly put it, India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great-grandmother of tradition. Historical traditions, architectural marvels, the chronicles of kings, and the exploits of numerous invaders testify to the complexity of Indian history. To speak of Indian culture is to speak of long traditions of music, art, architecture, dance, sculpture, and of course all those signs, gestures, and symbols by means of which people create meaningful, symbolic, silent communication. Today, India is an extraordinary amalgamation of the new thrown into the traditional mix. The constitution makers of India had dared to dream. They were visionaries who knew they had to create a workable mechanism that would reconcile the myriad and mind-boggling contradictions of the nation to create an awe-inspiring democracy. Intense deliberation and the measured stroke of a pen created a neutral and independent body to conduct, manage, and oversee the election process. The Election Commission of India was born on January 25, 1950. The men who ran the place knew from the very beginning that ensuring free, fair, and transparent elections was their key to periodic and smooth transitions of power. The Election Commission employs almost 7 million polling personnel to run the election. A vast number of civilian police and security forces are deployed to protect everybody's right to vote. Recognizing the electoral process as the strongest pillar of democracy, the Constitution gave the Election Commission a unique, independent, high-powered role. The Election Commission functions along the lines of the College of Justices at the Supreme Court. In fact, the proceedings to disqualify a candidate can look like a hearing at the Supreme Court. The three commissioners reach a decision in a collegial manner.